thanks so much for joining me for this Get Ready With Me featuring some new Chanel products. There are some new products launching March 1st. I know we've seen the LeBlanc collection, which has all the lovely pastel colors, but this one's a little bit different. And this one launches at the beginning of March. So if you're interested, stay tuned. I will post in the community tab once it becomes available, but there are two palettes. They are cheek and eye palettes, and I picked up one. This is in Tendresse, just based on my coloring. I thought this one might work better. Actually, Margaret at Chanel helped me out quite a bit in selecting these, so she also suggested this. There are two nail shades that they came out with as well. This one's in 969, and I have it on right now. It's a lovely shade. If you are similar to me in coloring, you're gonna wanna pick this up because it's a really pretty complementary shade to my skin tone. And then I picked up the mascara, which is interesting. It's in number 17, it's Rouge Grenat. And I thought it was going to be a tinge of color, but as you can see, it's very much a very bold color. So I'll give you my thoughts on that along the way. And this palette specifically, or actually the mascara as well, are things that had I not had a channel, if I didn't have a channel, I probably wouldn't have purchased them. They don't look like things that I need, but I wanted to try them out for you, let you know what my thoughts were, and if I would recommend it based on kind of what your approach to makeup is, how much makeup you have. I think that's gonna be a factor. And I'll also be using some other lovely Chanel products that I have. So let's go ahead and get started. I thought we could go in with my current favorite primer, the LIBRE ILLUMINATRICE. And I'm gonna try it with another Chanel foundation that I have that I also love. I'm gonna use the giant mirror for this palette. So one good thing about a larger palette is the mirror is larger. Got a little blurring, a little plumping with this primer, and just the slightest glow. Okay, we're gonna go in with the Ultra Le Temps, which is one of my favorite foundations. It's a really great long wear foundation. I have mine in BD41 here. It's got some warmth to it. It is the best shade match for me in Chanel base products. The next best shade is B40. So BD41 has a warmer tone in the same range, and then B40 has a cooler tone. So depending on your tone, I think if you're in this medium range, that's a great place to start. I know a lot of you love this foundation as well, especially if you are wearing it all day. Really great long wear foundation. Yeah, this one sits really close to the skin like the Chantecaille cushion does as well. Going in with the Chanel Sublimage for the eye, this is in this is just in 40. Taking the Sephora number 71, it's created just for this eye area here. Clé de Peau in Mocha, just for the dark spots here, with the Clé de Peau concealer brush. So just kind of pat in the center where it's darkest, and then I like to just blend it on the exterior. Chantecaille's eye base in medium. Gonna take Chanel's loose powder here in 30. And I don't normally do that, but I wanted to see how the primers, the foundation, and a really substantial setting situation went. Putting the loose powder down first, then we'll go in with the blur powder here, and then the Perfect Blur Glow. So Chantecaille's Perfect Blur Powder, and then the Perfect Blur Glow Powder, just in the front, right on the cheekbone area. Just gonna add brows here, and then we'll come back with a palette. We've got eyebrows on, and I just am looking for a brush to do some contour with. Let's try this. I don't usually use this brush for that, but the number 18 brush by REPHR. Let's try this with this. Now, I don't think that's going to be deep enough for me, but let's try. I could be wrong. It does look more light. I'm going by the chart that Margaret provided me. So she's got that placed right under there as a contour or bronzer. Actually, it's not bad. I didn't think I'd be able to see it, but it does have more pigmentation than I thought. So it's not a like a traditional contour shade on me, The one I'm thinking of is like a Kevin Aucoin kind of contour where there's a gray tone to it. This doesn't have a gray, like shadowy tone to it. So it's more like a, I'd say it's more like a bronzer. Let's see how it works on my forehead because it was looking really light here after my foundation. Very subtle, but it's pretty. Okay, since this is like a contour shade, I'm going to take a little bit of it and I'm just going to go like this for that upward motion here. I wasn't quite sure we'd be able to see it, but I think you can. It's nice. I did not expect to be able to actually see it on my skin. But yeah, as I said, it's not very evident, but some people like that aesthetic. I think it's gonna be just a really soft look we're gonna do here. Then let's take, again, following her chart, and take this one all over the lid. Ooh, I feel like that's gonna look really orange, but we'll see. I'm gonna go in here with a BK Beauty 202. So I just wanna do it kind of light-handedly at first and see what happens here. Okay, that's a really pretty wash of color. So far, this is more like a wash of color versus something super pigmented, but I'm using some brushes that aren't gonna totally load it on, but I like more of this watercolor feel. And she has this one going in the outer corner. I'm gonna take this REPHR number 2 brush and just pack that on the exterior. This is the color. You know what this reminds me of? The DIOR palette, the one with the flowers on it. I'll see if I can find it at the end. It's really reminding me of that. It was limited edition and had very, like a similar feel. This color was really reminding me of that. That's why I thought of it. Now the difference between that one and this is that that was just an eye palette. This is supposed to be an eye and cheek palette. And then on her chart, she's got this one A on that inner corner. So I'm just gonna flip this brush over, pick up that, it's like a salmony shade. That's a pretty sheen on it. And those of you know me know I like to take like a in-between shade to blend the two. So I'm gonna take this one again. Okay, I'm gonna take the number 202 brush again, and I'm going to go in with the brown shade here, this one, and go in the crease. Let's do this mascara. And there really isn't anything available as of the filming on this online, so I'm just going to use it as a mascara and see what happens. Okay, so we've got this color, which reminds me of the nail shade that I have on this one. Let's see. Oh, interesting. It's a lot deeper on the eyelashes, or at least from this view, than it looks like here. But, oh, that's very different. So then that makes me not want to tightline because of this. I think it'll be too much of a contrast. I mean, I guess it's like a fun color. Let me build this up here. Or maybe it just appears darker because my lashes are darker underneath. So I wonder if, depending on the natural color of your lashes, it might look a little bit different. Okay, that is a very different color for me for mascara. I think it's quite editorial. I can see it looking really beautiful in photos. Like there's a little bit of a magenta in there. Really interesting. Not something I would normally select for myself to wear, but I'm glad I tried it. It's different. Let me know if this is something that you would wear. I mean, it's just different. I wish they had something that was like more of a purple. I think that might be like more wearable on me, but this is different. Most people stick to the same shades in mascara, like brown or black. So this is an option if you wanted something different. Okay, let's go in with the blush. I'm gonna use two shades here. Let's go in with this one first, this lighter shade, and then we're gonna do a pop of color. So let's see how this is as a blush. It's pretty dense, like it's not picking up as much, and this Ray Morris brush usually picks up more difficult blushes, not more difficult, but more densely packed blushes really well. So this appears to be different than their regular blush formula. It's more of that baked gelée formula from what it appears. I'm not quite certain, but it's very dense. This kind of reminds me of their blush duo that has the two sides. It was my favorite blush of the year from the beginning of the year. Really pretty as a blush. Okay, let's go in with this shade right here as a pop of color. Yeah, kind of reminding me of, there was that one actually there were two singles. I'll pull them out. But they remind me a lot of this. Like Peche Rosé, that one. Oh, that's a lot. I wasn't paying attention. Yeah, it has very much that like burnt apricot kind of tone to it. Okay, so there is that. And I put on too much. Buff with the blur brush here really quick. Just take a little bit of that blur powder. Just taking the excess from that brush and just kind of buffing that out in the center. So she's got a little bit of this lightest shade kind of right in this area. So I'm going to take this lightest shade, same brush, and just brush it right over here, kind of like a highlighter. So let me go find a lip and then the other comparisons I'm thinking of for this palette. Okay, I'm not sure. I have a couple of lip products in mind. We've got the Beige in Intense, which is really nice. Kind of reminds me of this whole color story, and it's a little bit more sheer, or a Rouge Cocoa Flash in 164 Flame. I think we'll try this one first. I haven't used it on camera as much, but it's a really lovely product. So if you're looking for something less intense than a lipstick, this one's a good one. This is a good one. Really comfortable on the lips as well. So now that I have most of my makeup on, still feel like my forehead needs a little bit more color. I think that brown shade worked well under here, but still wasn't deep enough. I think you can see it's lighter. So I'm going to take my Le Beige in 392. And then I'm just taking the REPHR number 4 brush. Oh, I forgot one step. La Prairie. So here's the final look, and I realized I do have this lip shade Tendresse, and this is Rouge Cocoa, but it was limited edition. It's a lovely shade, and it looks very much like this nail polish color, now that I think of it. Very similar. So I would recommend this if they had it, but they don't have it anymore as far as I could see on the site. And I would have paired it with this, but I did want to try something else since that one's not available. Talking about this mascara really quickly, I think it's very editorial. I think it will look great in photos, like up close photos, especially I think if you have like little flecks of red in your eyes, this would be really beautiful because it would pick that up. On me, I'm almost wondering if I could put an eyeliner like a purple, somewhere in that family, like amethyst, something like that might look really pretty, but I'm going to leave it like this. But let's talk about this palette. I think I first said, is this something I needed? And no, I didn't need it. I don't need any more makeup. And it's not something I truly got excited about. I was more curious than anything else. There are some collections coming out that I'm excited. Actually, I'm excited for the LeBlanc collection. This one, not as excited about, but more curious about. So now that I've used it, I'm gonna say this isn't something I needed to pick up. There isn't anything here that I couldn't satisfy with other products that I have. Now, if I didn't have anything like this and I wanted this aesthetic, I think that it's a very specific look. Usually I like a cool eyeshadow. This is more fun though, more whimsical with the mascara. The products performed really nicely, I think. If you want a one and done cheek and eyeshadow, this is unique because you can use them on both your eyes and your cheeks. I think they work well in both places, which isn't always the case when you have an eye and cheek palette. Sometimes they perform better on the eyes versus the cheeks, or cheeks versus the eyes. But in this case, really lovely as a blush. Like, I think if they sold these as single blushes, I probably would have been more excited about them rather than in this palette, because I feel like maybe this would be a better blush palette than anything else. The eyes, I think, are nice. Again, not my style though, but everything blended really nicely. So to me, it has that watercolor effect in that everything just blends really seamlessly into each other, and I think the performance was really good on this. So it didn't take too much work to get here. And I think, again, on some people, again, if it's your aesthetic, will look really, really beautiful. It's just not mine. This is for someone who likes this aesthetic, wants a one and done palette. You can cover cheeks and eyes really well. You're not compromising on either to use them either on the eyes or the cheeks. So I think they did a really nice job with formulating this and having the colors work really well together. It's just not my taste. So in terms of all of the things I tried, I think the nail polish is really the only thing that I'll really use over and over again. So I would recommend the nail polish, but not the other items if you love what I love. I know a lot of you rely on my reviews and recommendations based on the idea of using makeup and using it all the way up, or the potential to use it all the way up, because it becomes part of your routine. And so many of you have let me know that. So thank you so much, because that is the point of this channel. I really want to convey what's worth the investment here, because luxury makeup does come with that price tag. And this is not one of those things that I think I would get the use out of. So it's going to come down to a taste thing. Now, the things that I was reminded of, I didn't forget about that. It reminded me of this product, the Fleur de Printemps, this one. Do you remember this? It kind of reminds me of these. These two right here remind me of these two. So I've got the two shades from the new palette Tendresse here, and then I'm gonna take this one, Fleur de Printemps. Ooh, they're very close. So this is this one right here. This is the lighter shade next to the light shade in Tendresse. It's a little bit brighter. Okay, oh, that's much brighter. It's a much more corally shade in here. This one also kind of reminded me of these blushes, the Blush Lumières. This one reminded me of this one. Okay, so this one is peachier. So here is Pêche Rosé. This one right here next to Tendresse, right here. So not totally the same. And then this one, this is Brun Roussi. This one right here. So this is Brun Roussi right here next to Tendresse. So Brun Roussi is more brown, and then Tendresse has more of a burgundy shade. And then 733 Coral Glow by DIOR reminded me a little bit of Tendresse's palette, but it's not totally the same. It just reminded me of it. I think you can get a similar feel with this if you already have this, or if you missed out on this. This one reminds me a lot of it. So I'd love to know your thoughts on this collection. Are you interested, not interested? Is this your aesthetic? Let me know, because like I said, if this is your aesthetic, I think it's a great palette. If not, then I don't know if there's a need to pick this up, because it's not something I probably will pull for, but stay tuned. I may pull for it more as a blush palette, so we'll see. But that is it for today's video, so please take care of each other, stay well. If you enjoyed this video, if you learned something, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and I will see you next time.